In a world where a podcast ruled them all, there can be only one. And it is the Mindfly Podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome. We're excited today. I am your host, JP. Hello. This week we have with us Case.
Hi.
Oh, okay. Alyssa.
Hi.
Doug. Zach.
Me.
And Shelby.
Doug.
So, what's up, everybody? How you guys doing?
I'm glad.
Awful.
I mean, I was good until we started this.
We just make the podcast about how awful we feel.
Yeah, if I'm just going to ignore you guys, I'm just going to play with the Switch the whole time. So. For our audio listeners, again we have
Which
Oh,
is
video
all
again.
of them.
Yeah. For our one audio listener, Case brought his Switch here. So while we're recording, he's probably going to be doing some shrines and dungeons. So NBD, if he doesn't talk,
just tune me out for this
yeah.
one.
Today's been this week's been pretty busy. At least in terms of like the media world and like at least for me, I've noticed a lot of trailers and I know we talk a lot about TV shows and films. We talked about Game of Thrones a couple weeks ago. Did you guys see the teaser they had for season, I believe 7? Is it?
I saw some of it. It's kind of like that Facebook thing where you see a video, but you don't click on it to hear the sound.
Yeah.
So it's like I kind of saw it, but I didn't really hear it. I didn't truly experience it.
It's really cool. I mean, there's not really any spoilers in it, but it's basically like a whole thing, a minute thing long of the 7 sigils. Like it has the dragons for the Targaryens, the bears for the Mormonts, I believe, the deer for the Baratheons, stuff like that. All the animals who are in the canon were just all featured, and it's really cool. So they're basically hinting at what they're calling the Great War. And I'm really excited for it. I'm looking forward to Game of Thrones. It's been a while.
I'm excited.
Been a while. Yo,
Been a while.
I'm
I
so
don't
excited.
know if my body is ready for that stress that is guaranteed
I'm
to
ready.
come in
I
this
need
season.
it. I need
ready.
it back.
Yeah, dude. I mean, this last season's been so good. I don't know. I'm trying to find more shows to watch. We talked about this. We always talk about shows. Like I'm still watching Skins. I'm on volume 5. The last season of the last episode of Sunny was just last night for season 12, which is really good, which is something I was meaning to talk about with you guys. So I don't know if you guys watched the show at all, but the actor who plays Dennis, Glenn, he said in an interview, I believe yesterday or the day before, that he may not return for season 13.
No.
What?
That's
Pretty big deal, right?
Yeah.
It's a shame.
That's a huge deal.
Yeah.
Everybody in that cast is like an awful person, like in the show, but he's like the worst by far out of all of them.
Oh,
So
by
I feel
far.
like once he's gone,
By
I don't
far.
know.
Yeah.
And it's weird too because I mean I don't want to spoil the episode for anyone who hasn't seen it, but the way they left off the ending of that episode, it's like really up in the air as to if he actually is going to come back or not. Already I might even be giving too much, but it's like it's crazy, Dennis at least has been one of my favorite characters since the show began. So to hear about that is just kind of crazy to me.
So is that that's not like a Jon Snow, maybe I actually won't be back sort of thing? Or is that like...
Yeah, maybe he dies.
or like, is it
Spoilers.
Whoa.
Sorry.
Or is it like the actor is done with his contract or something?
That's a good point because Sunny, I believe it was before or during season 12, the FXX announced that they were renewed for a season 13 and a season 14. So regardless of if Glenn's a part of the show or not, those seasons would air. However, Glenn did say in a tweet, he basically said there was going to be an extended hiatus between now and season 13. So even then, it's kind of weird. I don't know. I'm not really sure what to think about it, but I love the show and I just want to see it continue, I guess.
Ultimately, I feel like he comes back. I don't see how he can leave the show at this point. I mean, he keeps saying he's going to do the other show with Patton Oswalt, but at the same time, if we have an extended hiatus, you've got plenty of time. I mean, Kaitlyn Olson could do her show and Sunny at the same time.
Exactly.
Everyone's doing their own thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
Charlie Day, who plays Charlie in the show, he, if I'm not mistaken, did filming and production for his movie. Was it The Fight or something?
yeah, something
It's
like
a-
that.
it's a
Fist fight
with
in there.
With the
Ice.
teachers
Yeah.
who...
I mean, granted, it looked terrible, but still.
It's Charlie Day. I'm going to see it.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, he's had so much success just doing films in general. So, but the thing is, though, if he's able to do that while production for Sunny's going, if Kaitlyn's able to do the Mick on Fox while Sunny's going, I don't see how Glenn wouldn't be able to. But I'm not him, so
Yeah. I mean, it's cool because they've all kind of had their side projects before, and they all started the show together. So it would be weird not having Dennis and the second to last or last one.
Exactly.
But
yeah,
I'm curious to see what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, like
sure.
what's the reason? Because I mean, you have experiences like The Office, where Steve Carell was like, "Okay, I'm moving on to bigger and better things," but then at the same time, Mindy Kaling's contract was up at the same time Steve Carell's was, and they managed to keep her on, which is how she got the Mindy project in the first place. Was they kept her on and said, "Okay, we'll give you your own show if you stick around for this last season." And so, if it's something having to do with contract related things versus just, I'm trying to keep you in suspense about my character, like those are very different experiences.
Exactly. We talked about that during school, Zach. I think we were talking like the whole Friends negotiation and like how all those actors and actresses were getting paid certain amounts of money and like some
certain
people,
amounts of money, kind of like $1 million
$1 million
per show
an
or something like
episode.
that.
Well, didn't the same thing happen with Big Bang Theory?
Yeah, they're the highest paid.
Yeah, well, actually, I read somewhere, I think it was all of the guys took a pay cut so that the girls could make more recently. So Kaylee and all the other ones could,
cool.
which was,
I think they rallied around like making sure that they all had equal pay.
the equal pay, yeah.
Badasses.
Have you guys watched Big Bang Theory recently?
I am so behind on that show.
It's a great show. I just haven't.
That show hurts me
It
internally
literally,
when I watch it.
Why is
my
like,
heart hurts when I
fake
watch that
nerdy?
show.
My friend compared it to, now this is a very inappropriate comparison, but compared it to nerd blackface. Which,
It's fake nerdery.
I don't know. I mean, I think I just saw a video. There was a video out, I think it's been around YouTube, where they take out the laughter, like the laugh tracks.
It's not funny at all.
It's hard to watch.
It looks like a room full of people that hate each other, and there's just awkward pauses between everything they say.
I think it has a lot to do with the film style, though, because it's a sitcom style filming, so it requires those laugh tracks. If it was filmed like The Office or Parks
Sunny,
and Rec,
yeah.
it would have it would. The writing is designed to fit with laugh tracks.
That would have been good though if they made it like The Office, because then it would have been
That would've
like
been
a
interesting.
nerdy, dry, show.
But the camera zooms have so much emotion too. It's like it's its own character. Like the shakiness handheld camera is its own.
And they
emotion.
do a lot of like really cliche stuff, especially early on. I can't really speak to the most recent seasons, but having the one hot girl and making fun of her for being, she's basically dumb blonde actress, those sorts of things. And then you've got the nerd, and then they make fun of the one guy who only has a master's degree and different type of stuff like that. But
they do.
Yeah,
I think,
there's actually the other thing too. A lot of fucking nerds actually were going off. Like there's multiple Reddit threads of like all the things where they talk about anything nerdy, like World of Warcraft, gaming, anything. They're like, this is where they're wrong. This is where they're wrong.
Oh
This
my
isn't. This didn't
God.
happen.
Calls them all out.
Oh my! There are tons of pages on Reddit.
Nerd
on it.
trolls, those are the best ones.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe
so
it's a litmus test. Like if you're just a super nerd, you will hate.
Yeah.
you will hate
Yeah,
that
I'm
show
just
with
a
a
super
passion.
nerd. I don't have a life, and so
It's like
for
when
me,
somebody
it's-
finds your underground band that nobody else has heard of, and then once they're like, "Oh
once
yeah,
they're-
that band's awesome," you're like, "No,
No! God damn it!
yeah. I could be being petty about it, but I don't know.
That's fine.
I was actually just talking to Zach about this earlier. I actually listened to an interview, and it's been a while on NPR now since I've heard it, so I can't recall a lot of it. But it was an interview with the scientists who are actually on set and how they model their formulas and all of those types of things. So they do try to be realistic, but maybe in some of the more pop culture-esque things, they're not.
Well, that's what it is. Yeah.
yeah.
As far as like a lot of that science stuff, I think they're pretty accurate. But yeah, everything else is like, just only when they get into like gaming and like comics and shit is when they start calling them out.
I guess that's the biggest thing too, right?
funny.
When you take such big communities like a gaming community, like those types of arts and media, and you make content that's kind of popularized for a specific audience. I don't want to say it kind of dumbs down that content, but it makes it more accessible. And it's the same thing to compare when you're comparing like a book to a movie adaptation, right? Like at times there has to be certain changes where the movie quote unquote dumbs down the content. It could work. It can't. Sometimes it doesn't work.
Or creates entire stupid scenes like the Harry Potter Voldemort fight.
I think there's just a certain level of nerd like pride, like nerd like elitism almost.
Yeah,
and
for
so
sure.
I think whenever you try to take anything nerdy and kind of channel it through a show or a movie, you're always going to get that crowd that's like indignant about it. Like for instance, like you said, movie like book to movie adaptations, there's always that crowd that's like, but the movie didn't have this minor
How did
character.
No, Peeves is important.
And they just shriek angrily into the internet. And,
Yeah.
Right, but it's like totally impossible to fit like every single thing in a book.
Right.
yeah,
It's
and
like-
I'm one of those people, don't get me wrong. But, I just thought I might point it out.
What's actually funny is Doug, I know will like this. Shagrath, from Demi Borgir. When they made the movies for Lord of the Rings, he was going to change his name if Shagrath was in the movie. Because he was like, it's too mainstream now. He was going to change his name if that happened. But they didn't go into his characters. He was like, okay, great, I'm safe.
I think that is one thing that is really frustrating, especially for nerdy kind of environments, is how it's becoming so mainstream to be nerdy, to be geeky.
Right.
And, I always hear people say, like, I was bullied in high school for this many years, whatever. And now it's cool to be a nerd. And
Yep.
everyone's like, I'm such a nerd. Like, even the clip that we were watching on John Oliver.
That anchor.
Yeah. She's like, I'm nerding out right now. Maybe I'm the only nerd here,
It was a compilation of all her clips.
I'm
Every
a
time
space nerd.
she's ever said like geek or nerd before.
Yeah, you saw that?
I'm such a space nerd.
That's funny.
But
Space nerd?
yeah.
Really nerding out right now, guys.
Oh my God.
I don't know if that to me is worse than like the whitewashing stuff where like they're making the anime Death Note. They're making Death Note and
Into live action?
Yeah.
Wait, what? I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
I think Kevin.
Wow.
Is it Kevin Bacon or no? Willem
You're
DaFoe.
gonna
it's
say
not
Kevin
Kevin.
James.
Kevin James in Death Note. Now
I'm a mall cop in Death Note.
As
No,
a
it's-
segue and everything.
Gonna eat some potato chips and kill some people.
I think it's Willem DaFoe who's playing.
He's a classic.
What is the guy's
evil-looking
name?
dude.
There's
Dude.
L and Light. Light is the guy.
No, not the
Light-
devil.
The devil.
not
Oh.
Lights, demigod.
Good
Who's
question.
Lights demigod?
What is his name? Why am
That's
I blanking
perfect
on
casting, though.
Yeah.
If you don't
Right?
care
No.
about the fact that the person's not Asian,
Yeah,
that's perfect
right.
casting.
I
And
think
so-
Willem DaFoe would actually do a really good
So yeah,
Shinigami?
Yeah, that should
Or
Yeah,
Ren,
the-
Ren.
yeah, the Shinigami.
Shimigami. Yeah.
Yeah, Shinigami.
So that doesn't bother me as much as like
whatever, yeah.
I don't have my laptop in front of me, so I'm of course blanking on all these names. But
It's all right.
No.
Type it out invisibly.
which white people are playing Asians?
Oh, it's like ScarJo for Ghost in the Shell, right?
Yeah. Scarlett Johansson. That's what I'm thinking. I was like Natalie Portman. No, that's not the one. I'm thinking.
ScarJo.
What did they cast?
Joe.
They cast Emma Stone.
Scarlett Johansson.
I think it's
Yeah.
ScarJo.
At one time, didn't they cast Emma Stone for like a Hawaiian like part or something? Like it's
Emma
called
Stone?
Maui or something.
Oh no.
Oh, maybe.
no.
I mean, I know they did Rihanna,
Oh.
where Rihanna
No, they
was
did like Emma
Hawaiian.
Stone where she's like Hawaiian or something like that. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I
Maybe
know
totally
Mila
forgot.
Kunis
Mila
is
Kunis?
in.
It'll probably happen.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I need to look this up.
Look it up.
So I looked up the live action of Death Note on Wikipedia, so it's obviously useful. So yeah, Willem DaFoe is going to be Ryuk, who is I believe, a demigod, as we were talking about.
What's his name?
Nat Wolff is Light. Margaret Qualley is
Are there
Mia
Asians?
Paul Nakauchi. I don't want to make assumptions. Let's see. I'm gonna assume maybe. I don't know.
So along those same lines,
Don't make assumptions.
I
It
know,
makes an
man.
ass out
Right.
of you and me.
they also redid Old
Makes an
Boy,
ass out of you and
and
Umption.
that's I think like
dat.
Samuel L. Jackson might be in that one.
All right.
But
I found the movie that Emma Stone was in. It's called Aloha in 2015.
No, honey.
Now I haven't seen the movie. I don't even know the
Right.
plot of it. So I'm not saying I don't think the movie like was saying like this girl's Hawaiian, but I think it was just funny that they called it Aloha,
So
and there's like not a single Hawaiian person in the movie.
going back to a couple of topics ago,
To America.
Alyssa, when you brought up Harry Potter and like books to movies, something that came to my head. I don't know if you remember this. In Order of the Phoenix, when in the second to last scene when Voldemort is in Harry's head and Harry's trying to fight him out,
Spoilers.
there's a
I haven't seen it.
there's a part in the movie where he's seeing all these images of Voldemort, and there's this one like frame where Voldemort just goes up to the camera and he does this whole
He goes,
thing,
"Blah!"
and he's just like for like a second.
Jazz hands.
And I'd like to ask you, since I didn't read the book, was that
No,
in the
it's
book?
not in it.
It
No,
was like an outtake.
no, it's
He doesn't
not.
do a whole thing. It's just scared.
Does he do this?
Oh, who
Oh, that
was that?
That was the wrong one.
Good work, sound guy.
How about this monster roar?
That doesn't sound like a monster. That sounds like a dinosaur.
That sounds like a toilet flushing.
Sounds like
That sound like a
Okay.
a mechanical dinosaur using a toilet. Yeah.
If
That's
you guys,
it.
if you guys are If you guys were here last week, we talked
You're
about
killing
how,
it so far.
how Zach
That's it.
has too much power.
Yeah.
And
we really need to.
That's a great example.
I need to build the soundboard better so I know
What you're
That was
looking
pretty
at.
funny though.
That was really good.
I
Did he
lit-
sound like this? Big bird.
You actually
lit-
thought someone burped.
Yeah, I looked
Didn't
around
you?
at everyone like,
like,
how
the fuck?
dare
How did you?
Well, I thought it was a recording, but then I was like, when did you record somebody burping like that?
I'm sick
'Cause I
of
would have
Zach
heard
playing
that.
with my emotions.
I'm sick of Zach playing with my burps.
I'm sick of Zach recording me when I burp. Oh my
Okay.
god. Speaking of
That was
like,
an angry squirrel.
was it?
I thought it was a
Did
chicken.
you see the squirrel that just came into the room?
The audio listeners are having a great time right now. Hi guys. So speaking of movies and media, I was wondering, are you guys looking forward to any future shows or films?
Hello.
No, I'm done.
Guardians, yo.
Besides, Guardians 2 is really good.
More importantly, Beauty and the Beast comes out next week.
Oh,
Jesus.
We're recording on March 9th, so yes, next week it's gonna be coming out.
Yeah.
Starring Emma Watson.
Yes.
Yeah.
As Bill.
So did you?
I'll watch it just because of her.
Yeah. Well, and also.
But other than that, I'm good with the old Beauty and the Beast.
Well, that's the
Very
thing.
true.
That's what's crazy to me is that, at least from what I've seen on the trailers, it feels like they just took the cartoon and recreated it exactly. I'm sure that there's plenty of changes in the details, but
Don't go into the West Wing.
Good show.
Dude, I'm excited for that too. It looks awesome.
But-
trailers make
yeah, have you guys seen the controversy on it?
What's
I
the
was
controversy?
just about to ask that. Isn't there people complaining about it?
An entire movie theater in Alabama, of course, won't play it because there's a
Alabama.
gay character.
My movie about bestiality
right.
can't have gay characters.
Is it the
Damn it.
candle?
I think that
Of course, it's the candle.
no, it's not even the candle. It's Gaston's friend.
Oh yeah,
Gaston.
LeFou.
LeFou.
Yeah,
LeFou.
LeFou.
So
Were they friends?
So there's exactly.
One.
So there's like
Trick sauce. No.
so there's like these underlying like gay tones throughout it, and then I guess
Upsets
at the
Christian
end,
communities, just like Gaston.
That's my favorite song from the movie.
but at the end, I guess it shows him dancing with a guy. So
Yes.
we can have a woman, falling in love with an animal, but definitely not.
Yeah, bestiality's totally cool, but no, the minute there's a homosexual in here, nope.
Yeah.
So
Get
shot.
out of town.
And then of course Emma Watson also faced additional controversy this past week, where she was
Boobs.
Oh,
she was
Because boobs, for real?
Yes,
Boobs.
I didn't know that.
She did a magazine cover, and in it she has like this kind of shawl, like knitted top that shows some underboob, and underboob.
I love underboob.
Underboob's
And
big.
so
Underboob's
people
in
are
right now.
Everybody loves underboob.
Yeah,
If you're going to
everyone
show
loves
some sort of
underboob.
boob,
Right.
underboob is the right boob.
It's classy.
So it
Underboob
was
is a great boob.
It was, if you're into like being more risque on magazine covers, it was really beautiful and
Tasteful.
and tasteful. Yeah, it looked really good. And then so people immediately were like, "You're not a feminist because you showed your
Wow.
boob," like as if the two are mutually
Those
exclusive.
swerfs.
So
Yeah.
you can't
Isn't there like
be,
a bunch of feminists that just want to free the nip entirely though? So
yeah, that's the thing.
doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah,
It was weird to me though. I mean, I like Emma Watson. Don't get me wrong, but I do find it kind of ironic that she, when the whole fappening thing happened, her comment was essentially along the lines of, "Well, that's why I don't upload anything to the cloud because that's what might happen." It was very kind of
I don't
like,
remember
Passive
that, yeah.
kind of.
yeah, not like
Nope.
outraged about this and that, and so
Right.
I bet hackers were like, "We're gonna find
We're
photos
finding
on
something.
you."
Yep.
Oh, I do remember. I was just like, please don't.
Oh,
make
so
it
she
go
kind of
any
was
longer.
like, she didn't like sympathize with the celebrities. It was kind of more
I mean,
like,
she could have. Maybe I didn't see it. And
Or
I'm
it didn't
sure
come off
I'm
that
not
way?
saying people's opinions can't change over
Yeah.
time. I mean, maybe she changed her mind, but I just comparing that time to this time is
Right.
interesting.
And it might have been out of context too, because even as we talked about in the last episode, and how she won't take photos with fans because of the tracking data that it causes. So maybe it was more along those lines, where she's a little more careful about
Yeah.
the information she puts out there, as opposed to saying don't take naked pictures. But
dude, when it comes to like cloud services and photos, like I'm against the photo stream service that Apple makes. Not because I'm taking a whole bunch of nude pictures, but it's just
Sure you are.
I feel like I mean
That
I
sucks.
am, but I just feel like it's my personal library of photos that would normally be stored in my closet or in my bedroom, and now it's just available on the cloud. Every photo that I take and every photo that I delete, just immediately gets sent to the cloud. Like I feel like, to me, that's an invasion of privacy, and I don't understand why that's such a huge thing. Like everybody just loves to put their pictures all out onto
I think a lot of people
everybody's servers.
don't know had to turn it off conveniently enough to even worry about it, and they're just like, oh, I don't have anything to hide, so it's all right. I don't care if the government comes after me. That's not going to happen.
Right. I'm a goody two-shoe person, so there's nothing
But it's
for
like,
me to hide.
even though you didn't do anything wrong, it doesn't mean it's okay.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, there's just that's a violation of privacy to me.
And also, I think we have to keep in mind, this might be really simple for many people, but we're kind of living in a very digital age. And so we're kind of living in an age where all focused,
Kind of.
on like content
Little
marketing,
bit.
Statement.
focused on like putting stuff on the internet all the time. And so once you get into that habit, putting things into the cloud is kind of easy, and we don't really think about it so much.
I didn't even know Apple offers a service now because me and Shelby were going through like trying to reorganize our hard drive space. But Apple offers a service now where you don't own any of your photos. Like they retain all the large photos just for you to save your hard drive space. And then whenever you want to recall that photo, you just like stream it live to your computer so you can have the full resolution version of it.
Yeah.
But they literally want to take over like your entire photo library.
That's crazy, dude. I don't know, man.
Sounds sketchy to me.
How many pictures of my dogs do they need?
I know, right?
These are all mine.
They're mine. So,
But I did want to talk about the Switch a bit.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
So episode 3,
I know.
Return of the Switch.
I know we've like kind of, beat the dead horse in it.
All right, how about this? Let me do this.
Yeah.
A long time ago, in a video game console, far, far away.
Far, far away. It's right here.
That's true. Hey,
Dumbass.
welcome.
It's here.
Welcome to episode 3 of the Nintendo Switch podcast.
The
We
Final-
are far, far away.
Final episode of
Yeah,
the
final
3-part
episode.
We
series.
won't talk, well, unless some other big controversy comes out. So I had a big argument with my brother. He's a huge Nintendo fan. So if anybody should be defending Nintendo, it's him, right?
Okay.
He goes ahead and
Wait for
messages
it.
me and says, I'm so glad I didn't buy a Switch. It's a total failure of a launch. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, dude, just go on YouTube and type in Switch failure or Switch launch failure. And I'm like, okay. So I go on YouTube. I don't find any significant like reviewing site saying that there's like big news that Switch is failed. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. So he's like, okay, well, here's this video. And he sends me this 12-minute video of a collection of people, probably 35 to 40 different incidents of people that are having like broken consoles with some serious defects, like
Right.
sound issues, the whole thing shutting down, graphic issues, the screen scratching really easy when they put it in the dock, controllers not attaching properly, like things that the video just makes it look like the whole design is like
a flop.
completely ruined, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, before you make sorry, that was my
You got a
email.
notification.
Oh my god.
Well, it's not going to show up on the recording.
How many-
So now people
how
are going to be
many-
like, what are you talking about?
How many listeners do you think just checked their phone or the computer just now?
I think we need to put the sound in there.
Right. Should I leave it?
Yeah, just
I can leave that in there.
Leave
keep
it.
you on your toes, audience.
Either that or you got to chop the whole part of us talking.
No, I can just take it out separately. But lost my train of thought. Oh, so he was making basically an assumption that because you're seeing all these broken consoles that it was like a console-wide problem. And I was like, dude, you got to look at, like, give me the numbers. Show me how many people have perfectly working consoles versus how many people are having broken consoles.
Yeah.
And that will really tell you how successful, like the success or failure of the company is. Because if you only have like 100 broken consoles over 1 million, that's a pretty good percentage. Like you're gonna have bad consoles every year.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I think people need to realize. We might have talked about this last week, but no launch for a console, no launch for any sort of product is ever perfect, right?
Especially the launches.
Exactly. I mean,
Like-
you're gonna have problems.
Right. And so then he thought I was defending the company. He was like, I can't believe you're defending this company for, blatantly stealing money. Like, I'm going to spend $300 for a broken console. I'm like, that's not what's going to happen. All these people are going to have their consoles fixed or replaced. They're probably going to go to the retailer and they're going to just get a new console, or Nintendo will fix it themselves. That will determine whether or not it's a failure if if Nintendo doesn't address these issues. But to go ahead and say 3 days into the launch that it's already a failure because a collection of isolated events isn't an indication that it's a failure.
Yeah, I mean, and for God's sakes, it broke every sales record Nintendo had.
Exactly.
In pre-order, not
Right.
even by launch.
And to beat out Wii sales, that's a
crazy.
big deal.
Yeah, exactly. And again, we've got mine right here. No problems at all. Works flawlessly.
You've never had any issues starting it up or
every
crashing on
single
you?
issue, because I watched that video. Every single issue that those people had, not once.
And that's the thing, man. Like, it's not that I don't trust those certain sites, because some of those sites and reviewers, I've seen their content multiple times. I guess the biggest thing for me is it kind of sucks because, like you said, people are going to look at that video and they're going to assume that that's dependent on everybody. That represents
the entire batch of consoles
but
that released.
Obviously, we know it's not the case. It's,
Right.
you know, the Zelda's been getting huge popularity and is one of the highest rated games of all time.
Right.
You know, on a console that's kind of subpar, you know, that wouldn't really work. But like the Switch, it does its job. You know what I mean?
I will say this though, because I watched quite a few hardware reviews. I would want a cover because I hear that the screen is made out of plastic. It's not glass like your phone, so
It's
the
like, so it
screen
doesn't
can
shatter.
scratch easy.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. It's a intelligent design choice because it's made for children. It's made for all ages.
Right.
You don't want glass in the product.
Of course.
But I would get I would get a screen protector, and I'm like never get screen protectors. But for that, if I bought one, I probably would get a screen protector. And I think the dock seems kind of cheap the way they designed the dock.
Yeah.
Like they didn't really like. It seems like they should have made a little more, put a little more attention into how the dock makes contact with the screen, because a lot of people are getting scratch screens.
Yeah.
I mean, Case hasn't experienced that, but
Well, maybe I'm because I'm not stupid. I don't know.
maybe you're
know
just
how to put
careful with
things-
your electronics.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I don't know, man. I really hope the company does well.
Right.
I mean, like like you were talking about, I've been a fan of Nintendo's since I was very young. So I mean,
Right.
if anything, I just want to see the company succeed.
Well, yeah, I'm excited to like demo Case's console a bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Just get
We'll
a
definitely play around with that.
feel for it, but
Yeah. Until
That's-
then, I gotta pass beers around.
pretty much basically
Everyone
what
decide.
what I wanted to say about that, because I mean I have experienced bad launches too. I mean I pre-ordered the PS4 and it bricked on me. It bricked on me twice. I had to return it twice, and I was
That was
pretty
a
mad
terrible
to be,
experience. I mean,
Yeah.
that was all Zach's experience, but
Right.
watching him having to go through that, I was just like,
That must be
What happened
frustrating.
is all the Amazon, like whoever supplied like when Sony did its
and it was
distribution,
pre-order too.
yeah, the distribution that went out, and this is expected to happen. It was still a really small percentage of people. It wasn't like a massive market, but a lot of the Amazon pre-orders, the batches that they were receiving, were getting bricked consoles,
That's crazy.
and there was just no way to fix it. It was just a brick console. But it's frustrating when you're trying to pre-order to get the first experience, and then I still had to wait like a month after launch to even play it.
Yeah, that sucks, man.
Or me.
I remember watching a video like during the week that the PS4 launched, and basically it was Achievement Hunter. We were talking about Rooster Teeth all the time, and one of their series, they would basically have a challenge to see who can get an achievement first, and they had to install their PS4s, and they waited for like, I think like an hour or 2 hours just for the thing to boot up, update everything, install the game, and do all this stuff just to get one trophy for a challenge. And to me, that's crazy. Like if I have to wait an hour or 2 hours just to play a game that I just bought, that's frustrating to me. You know, that's like going to a movie and waiting through 2 hours of previews. Sure, I mean some of them might be cool, but you're just sitting
My
there.
favorite part.
Exactly. Like I pay $20 to go sit in a chair and watch trailers for movies that I'm haven't.
I mean,
paid
it's
to
the only
see.
time I can look at my phone. So I mean,
I mean,
that's
that's
why
also
I
a
dig
good
it.
So, as a minor segue, talking about movie trailers,
Yes. Mini Paul Blart.
I was actually, I think I was watching a movie or at least a trailer or something, and I realized that I really rarely go to the movies and do all that fun popcorn and sit down in the theater for hours. But every time I watch a trailer in a movie theater, I act like I go to the movies all the time. I'm like, oh, we definitely need to go see that. Oh my God, I cannot.
Oh yeah, all
And
the time.
I just like
all the time.
and I'm just like, I will be there on opening day. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
okay.
whispering to whoever's with me.
wait
Yes,
for
and I'm
this
just like, oh my God, I'm
Start
putting it in my
smacking
phone.
the
Yep.
person.
Exactly.
Exactly. You start.
You're not
Oh
even
my
saying
God.
words. You're just
And
going.
then it's,
But
And
then
then
I never go.
Oh yeah, I never go into something. I'm dying to see it. Like
Yeah.
this year, the only two movies I can think of are Logan and Guardians. Those are
Yep.
the only things I will go see.
Are
Everything-
you dying though? Are you dying?
Oh my God.
it's just like your opportunity to be a critic.
Case.
Yes.
Because then the next one will come on, and then like it'll be terrible, and you'll look at each other and just be like,
No, I am more of a
that.
critic of, and we've experienced this recently, I am more of a critic of SNL music performers. I'm like, I know you're famous and everything, but this is not good. Your audio is so off. Ugh, that was a wrong note. Like,
Rest in peace,
yeah.
Lana Del Rey.
Who?
Lana Del Rey. Her debut performance.
Oh.
Rest in peace.
But that's the thing, though, right? That's marketing, right? Like when your trailers make you want to go see the movie, that's the point.
I know, but that's the thing. I don't follow through. So as a data person, I want to know. Yeah, I want to know what it is. If I'm spending all this time and money on that marketing, but then I don't have the follow through, and I'm sure it's just me because I'm a little hermit. But
Well, for me, I hate trailers because they give away a great deal of the plot.
yeah,
Like some of the trailers you're watching, I'm like, well, I saw the whole movie.
Basically.
I know,
Yep.
and
Zombie
tropes can
plot.
fill in the blanks, you know. But I actually found out. I don't really have an exact source, but I remember reading somewhere. It could be BuzzFeed, could be somewhere reputable. That consumers actually prefer trailers like that. That they're more likely to see the film the more it reveals
That
about
gives
the film.
out all the goodies.
Yeah, which is strange to me because sometimes I see a trailer and I'm like, well,
Yeah,
I would have
already
saw
know.
that.
There's
But
no point seeing
now,
it.
I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
maybe it's the question of like, but how did they get there?
Yeah.
I think the average
Interesting.
consumer, I think the majority consumer of movies aren't really into the process of critical storytelling. Like they just like the consumption of the story, but not the interpretation of like act 1, act 2, act 3 and how everything follows through,
Because
right?
all of the archetypes are all the same.
Right.
They've all been done.
Every movie ever made is basically the same movie, just,
Different characters.
You just replace like,
And sometimes when you
One,
change it,
2,
it's
and 3.
weird. You're just like, what the fuck
Right.
did I watch?
Exactly. And so I think those type of people, the majority of people that don't think of like storytelling critically are the ones that don't care that they're getting most of the plot told to them, maybe.
Similar to what you were talking about before, Doug, in terms of spoilers and, when you see a trailer, you feel like you've seen the whole thing. I saw this really funny Facebook post about spoilers for Logan. I haven't seen the movie. I'm not going to spoil it for anyone who hasn't either. I'll just use
Is Wolverine in it?
Yeah.
Spoilers.
I'll use a Harry Potter spoiler. So spoilers for Harry Potter for a, some 20-something-year-old book, whatever. So I'm on Facebook today at work, and one of my friends posts or shares this post that basically says, these are some of my favorite foods in the world. And it's like a 6-frame post. It's like Twinkies and other types of sweets, pies, cakes, and the bottom right panel is Snape kills Dumbledore. And then I'm just sitting there, obviously the spoilers for Logan, I'm sitting there like, well, I'm not going to see the movie anymore. But that's the thing, though. Like you were saying,
Yeah.
Alyssa, you kind of want to know how it happened.
It really depends on what the spoiler is. There's sometimes like there's an episode of IT Crowd where they're sitting down to watch a movie and someone calls and he's like, oh yeah, there's a huge twist in it. And then there's a different type of people where he's like, I don't want to know there's a twist at all because I'm going to be constantly trying to be like, oh, maybe this is it. Maybe this is it. And I hate that. And then there's the people who think that's the fun in it, is trying to guess what the twist is ahead of time.
Yeah.
So I think the same thing is true for, your purpose of watching a movie, whether it's I'm more interested in the character development than the critical analysis of how the story's flowing or how they approached certain things. Or if you're like, oh, I got this spoiler, now nothing matters versus...
Yeah, that's kind of my thing. If I get that, but then again, also depends on just what the movie is. Like if it's something I just really, really want to see, I won't care what they give away. I'll go see it regardless. But otherwise, no. I think a lot of it though is my attention span is fucking terrible, and like for
Same.
movies because I'll
That's
never watch
definitely a
movies.
normal
I'll
thing
never
for
watch movies at
nowadays.
home because if I'm watching them at home, I'll be playing a video game or on my phone. I'll never watch it. So at least if I go to a theater, it makes me sit there and pay attention.
Nope, I sleep.
And it's the same with TV shows. I give every TV show 3 episodes. If you haven't hooked me by then, I don't watch it anymore. I'm done. I'll throw
Just
it away.
3, huh?
Never going back.
Yeah, that three's pretty much
Three's
the
a good
magical
Three's about it.
number.
If you haven't
I mean,
hooked me by
It's a
then, we're
company,
done.
Yeah.
Same with The Walking Dead. Got to episode 3, thought it was terrible, never went back. Sorry, everybody.
It's all our.
Sorry,
think you need
Walking
to give
Dead
Sorry,
Case
case
Olivia.
doesn't
If
like
you ever
you.
listen to this,
Speaking of spoilers and TV shows, Alyssa, we were talking before about Skins UK
Yeah.
and how I, for some reason, I'm addicted to that show. Even though
so
I
good,
watch
that's
nothing,
why.
I never watch any type of shows. Like I've never watched really Degrassi or any of those types of teen dramas.
Do you watch British shows?
Yes,
Okay, because that's how I got hooked.
Yeah.
I don't watch. I've
you
never
need to watch
seen
IT. I can't talk.
ID Crowd.
IT Crowd.
It's a,
They
it's
make
a,
identification.
ID Crowd.
it's a show about security guards.
information.
I'll check it out.
No,
Technology.
IT Crowd is badass.
But anyways,
Technology.
I didn't think it was
Oh
going to
my
be that
God.
funny, but
it
was hilarious.
You want to say something?
Nope.
Speaking of what we were talking before, I was discussing with Alyssa how I was going through YouTube comments of a video. Basically, in season 1 of Skins, there's a part where they start singing "Wild World" by Cat Stevens, and really good song, really incredible scene in the show. I scrolled down to the comments to see it after being caught up with the first 2 generations, and the top comment basically spoils a huge plot point for the third generation, a generation I just started watching. So in my head, I'm like, no, like I like this character a lot, and now you're going to tell me something terrible happens to them. But at the same time, as you were talking about, I'm like, but how does it happen though?
Yeah.
Like whatever it is. Yeah.
I have a prediction that in the future, because I feel like we're getting more and more intertwined with technology and like entertainment. Like you said earlier, everybody's kind of becoming a nerd on some level. I feel like entertainment will matter so much to us that in the near future, spoiling something will be like a civil offense. Like I think it's something that you'll be able to legitimately sue somebody over.
Interesting.
That's Black Mirror right there.
I mean, you see
That's
like
Black
That
Mirror
is
shit.
Black
Yeah, that's
Mirror.
Black
you
Mirror
see that
shit.
rage that people get like after every episode of Game of Thrones. That was my biggest fear. I never watched it the night it came
People
out,
get
Yeah.
so
and so
aggressive.
I wouldn't look at Facebook because I knew somebody would post that Dumbledore died because he was killed by Dobby in
My favorite
the
character in
room
Game
with
of
the
Thrones.
candlestick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
And people pride themselves on being those spoiler trolls too.
Yeah.
So you're always going to run into them.
but you saw that video. I think it's like it's an old video. It could have been staged, but I'm pretty sure it's real. It was right around the 6th book release of Harry
Yeah.
Potter, and there's a SUV that drives by the line of people waiting to buy the book.
Yep.
And the person shouts out the window, "Snape kills Dumbledore."
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah.
Everybody in
That's-
the line is like visibly upset.
That's where that came from. Where every now and then goes back, Snape kills Dumbledore, Snape kills Dumbledore, because supposedly this
Yeah.
actually happened, where the book leaked
That's the
early.
best
Yeah.
story.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah,
I
So
mean, on one level, you're actually legitimately ruining something for somebody on
Right.
some level, right?
yeah.
yeah.
So Alyssa had me watch like the whole series when we first started dating, and when
Spoiler alert:
we got to
we're
the
dating.
yeah
I was like, wait, what?
spoiler.
Well, we
Oh,
haven't said that on the
true.
podcast at all.
Yeah, I
I
guess
thought
we
you meant
haven't.
to us. And I was like,
Hey, congrats, guys. I never
would've
knew.
known.
Yeah.
Never
The
knew.
podcast brought us together.
Yeah, the podcast.
Thanks, Mindfly.
In a world.
Zach will never
Where
get to
lovers
talk.
meet.
Yeah, I'll
We'll
never
just
get to
keep-
my point.
We'll just keep talking about things.
Welcome to me last week.
So you started a series.
Yeah, so we started the series and we got to the point where Dumbledore killed
No.
or Snape killed
Dumbledore
Dumbledore.
Yes.
And then she was like,
what movie?
yeah, so she was like, how did you not know this?
Yeah, he
'Cause I
was genuinely like
surprised.
Yeah, Dumbledore, and of course it's movie version, you know. So
Maybe
Dumbledore's
because
like
Dumbledore
flying
sounds
off
like a
the
nonsense
tower.
word if you don't read Harry
Exactly.
Potter.
That's Dumbledore.
That's
So-
what I was like. You had to have heard that before.
Yeah, so when it was happening, when this whole thing was going on, when people were being spoiled, I was not in the Harry Potter fandom at all. So I had no idea who Dumbledore was or Snape. You know, I didn't know who either
That's
of those
crazy.
characters were. So they meant nothing to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, you wait 10 years later for me to finally watch the films. It
He was
all
genuinely like,
surprise
he
to
can't
me.
actually, you know, it was like that moment in Game of Thrones where you're like, you killed a main character.
Yeah, it was
Dumbledore
so that.
can't die. He's Dumbledore. And I'm like, I know, right?
And I was like, Snape's not a bad guy.
Well,
Yeah.
all right. Well, I'm not going to spoil for for a 20-something year old series, but yeah,
Sorry.
man,
Well, we totally spoiled it for all our listeners now because
Yeah.
we
Oh, yeah.
just went right into
Yeah.
it.
we spoiled that Dobby kills.
I think in that
Snape.
like civil offense thing, like there'd have to be like a clause, like once a piece of
Right.
media is so many years old, you know. Like I remember like when I was watching Lord of the Rings and, you know, spoilers, Gandalf, you know, fly you fools, and falls into the canyon, and this was before the second movie came out.
Ugh.
And so for me, like, oh my god, Gandalf died. It's like Dumbledore, you know, he's pretty much the Dumbledore
Yeah,
of that series.
he really is. Yeah.
Except he actually does shit.
Wow.
Anyway,
Wow.
You shall not pass.
I have favoritism about my old wizards.
Okay, well,
anyway,
we're going to get Dumbledore's past in the Fantastic Beasts series.
But I thought about like if somebody had told me about that, like I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much. Like I originally thought he was dead, and then
Yeah.
the second movie opens with him like fighting the whatever it's called, the devil thing. You know, like
what it's
Balrog. Yeah,
called.
Balrog.
He was becoming the White. Gandalf the White.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I
Spoilers
read-
are interesting.
Yeah.
I read that book while I was in a Christian school, and they were trying to say that he was being reborn like Christ.
Of course.
That was like what they were telling me was
So
the meaning.
wait, other people can do it too?
I guess so.
I don't know why I thought of this, Doug, but when you
Conflicting
mentioned
motives.
when you mentioned Gandalf the Grey becoming Gandalf the White, or whatever, it reminded me of a scene from Clash of the Titans, the updated film. And there's this one female character in the movie. I forgot her name, but basically the entire movie, the whole run time of it, I can't speak. She's basically like getting stomped on these monsters and getting slashed and stabbed and everything, and she never dies. But the time when she does, at the end of the movie, she like comes back flying on a Pegasus, like nothing happened. I am Jesus for some reason. Like I don't know. Like when I think of that kind of stuff, like when characters, they play with your heartstrings. You think they're dead, no, they're not. Oh wait, she's gonna get her head cut off. Nope, never mind. Like I don't know. A lot of shows do that. You know, I feel like Game of Thrones kind of did that for like, is he dead? Is he not really? You know, but
they did that for a long time.
Yeah,
characters are the most important part.
Yeah, but
That's why
when
they get you hooked on them.
Exactly. That's when you know you have a good show. I guess that's why I love Skins so much. That's why I love Sunny so much.
Yeah.
Any type of character development is super important for a story.
Yeah, makes or breaks the show or the movie. Whichever way.
So there was a show I watched years ago now. I mean, I'm obsessed with Kristen Bell. Like that's just like part of my life. I'm obsessed with her a lot. And one of her earlier kind of fame works is Veronica Mars. And it was 3 seasons. Each episode was 45-minute episode. It was one of the longer ones, and 20 something in them each time. I watched the entire series when I discovered it in 2007 because I just moved away for college, and I watched the entire series in a weekend. I stayed up all night, woke up early, and just sat with my laptop and my headphones and watched it all the time. Like my friends were going to parties, and I sat at home by myself just staring and staring and staring until I had to sleep, and then immediately woke up. To the point where when the show ended, I stood up from my bed where I was watching it.
How many seasons did you watch?
It was only 3, so it went really quick. But it was
three
just
in one weekend.
Yes, like Friday to Sunday, just kept going. And I know people today
Literally
are like,
binged.
please, I'll watch all of Game of Thrones in a weekend, But that was a lot for me. And the show ended, and I got up off my bed, and then I just sat down on the floor with my knees in my hands, literally grieving for the absence of these people in my life, to the point where when I would see some of their cars, they had the same cars as people I would see on the road, I would get like that like ex flutter, that you feel when you're like freshly out of a relationship. You're like, is it him? Yeah. And I was just like, this is bad.
Yeah, that happens when you like just totally watch an entire show at once like that.
Yeah,
like,
I was
all together.
so immersed, and it was part of who I was. Like it was a real experience for me.
Yeah, when you binge a show, it definitely has that impact. Because I binged Lost, and I felt the same way.
Yeah,
even though it had the worst landing.
That damn island.
But it was weird. I was like, oh my god, these characters, I'm never going to see them together again. I felt like that for The Office too.
I felt I mean, there's definitely been shows where I've like cried at their ending or something. Like even 30 Rock, I cried watching the last episode of that.
Wow, that show's over. I didn't even know that.
It's been over a long time. Yeah. It's been a while.
When I was younger, I cried during Godzilla, like I think it was the '98 remake. So like when spoilers, he's trapped in the
spoiler cast.
Spoilers, you cried?
I know, right? No, when Godzilla was trapped in the suspension bridge and they were shooting missiles at him and he was just roaring, unable to get away. I remember crying in the theater as a kid, like, oh my god, why are they hurting him? He's just a
beer
big
on myself.
dumb animal.
Speaking of Veronica Mars, Alyssa, did you see the movie?
Yes.
What were your thoughts on it?
I mean, I thought it was great. I loved having the characters back, and it was I going back to that same story. I was actually nervous to watch it because I knew that it was going to pull me back in. But I did re-binge on a slightly more stretched out scale, rewatch the whole series, and then watch the movie. And I mean, I was happy to have it. It's been a while since I've watched it, so I can't really recall the exact things that happened to know how much closure I felt. But I was very happy they did it, and I was really happy with the way that they did it. Yeah. They did it all with Kickstarter and all of that, and it was really cool.
I was just gonna bring that up. When this was in 2014 when the movie was released, and they announced like before then that it would be kickstarted. You know, if people want to see it, obviously people wanted to see it. It got me thinking of like the power of crowdfunding. You know, for passion projects like Veronica Mars, which has dedicated a huge cult following. Obviously, it makes sense to have crowdfunding, things like that. But when you think of other small projects, or just like I want to, if you kickstart me a bottle of milk, give me enough money to get some milk, and I get some milk. I sometimes I wonder about the legitimacy of those type of crowdfunding sources.
Well, I have an interesting story of a friend. I was going to say a friend of mine. My girlfriend, actually. She is a friend.
A friend girl.
A friend girl of
Female
mine.
person.
I feel like
Good of mine.
Trisha's absence here is like the common theme in each episode. We're like, hey, Trisha, he does love you.
She needs to be a guest sometime.
She does.
Like, seriously.
Perhaps next time. Anyway, a person she knows, he apparently, she didn't know this until recently. It was years ago is when it happened.
Mm-hmm.
He promised to release a film, a documentary, and kickstarted it, made like $5,000. I think the goal was $3,000.
Wow.
And apparently, he just ditched. He never actually did it. He took the money and ran.
That's just damn.
And
Dirty.
now he deletes all the comments about it off of his Facebook page.
There you go.
That's
Thanks for the
awful.
free money.
That's hard.
Yep.
So I'm scrolling through my phone right now because that actually reminds me of a link that my friend sent me.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have like Kickstarter where it's like, hey, I'm gonna do this thing, and here's my idea, contribute, blah blah blah.
Right.
But then you have GoFundMe, which is like, hey, we suffered a terrible tragedy, or we're having this, big need for something, and we could use your support. Well, my friend sent me this thing that's someone trying to take his girlfriend for their 1-year anniversary to an EDC concert. And so there's just like
What's EDC?
the crazy like
Electric dance.
techno
Electric.
music.
Electric dance carnival.
Today's
Daisy
techno.
Carnival.
Those things
Daisy
those
Carnival,
young
yes.
kids
Yes.
listen
I
to.
love
So-
Electric Daisies.
So like there's just tons of comments on here where it's like, hey, help us raise $900 is their goal. They have $338 raised so far. And it's just like, my girlfriend is so great. Thanks for being the best rave bae and always taking care of me when we go out. Love you.
Why is this a thing?
So
And
is that where like Kickstarter's going to? It's like, please fund all my fun activities that I should normally pay for and work for myself.
So there's tons of comments on here that are like, dude, your girlfriend needs a new boyfriend. Like, I will date her and take her out on a real date. Like, if you're so cheap and so poor,
that you have to kickstart this?
that you're
Yeah.
doing a GoFundMe.
Oh,
It's not even
GoFundMe.
it's GoFundMe. It's like, this
Oh,
is such a
right.
disgrace, and
Right, because this in most GoFundMes are like for real.
Yeah, they're for like real
yeah, like
tragedies.
our house burned down, or my sibling or
Oh,
brother
jeez.
died, something
That's
like
just-
that. Like,
Oh, yeah.
So I can already see how it just stands out
Yeah.
as being a sore
Even
thumb.
South Park made a parody episode of that, where basically the whole concept of the episode, Doug knows what I'm talking about, was they made a startup company that was literally, they called it Washington Redskins because that's when the Redskin name was taken. Their trademark
I remember-
name,
I remember
and they
this.
basically
Spoilers.
said, "You're gonna pay us to not have to do anything," and they got millions of dollars just basically making a parody that people will give money to anything. It's like something like that. They got $300 just to go to fucking EDC.
That's
It's the
funny
same
that people
thing. That was the
actually
whole
send
thing they
money for
did.
that,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was hilarious.
So I guess,
I'm gonna have to watch that one.
Oh yeah, it's on Hulu. It's hilarious.
moral of the story is people will pay for
Your mom's calling
anything. Audio listeners, my mother's calling. But
you should definitely answer and then
This
put her
is-
on the mic.
Yeah, I would, please.
Oh,
Come
we're
on,
gonna see
let's
a whole
go.
different side of JP.
Hold on.
Oh yes.
Hello.
Hi, mommy.
Hey, Dad. How you doing?
Ooh, switching it up. Spoiler alert.
Speakerphone.
No,
Speakerphone.
he's scared.
Yeah.
Son, you're not doing that damn podcast thing again, are you?
Son, guess what I just did? I just opened a GoFundMe account. I'm gonna take your mother to EDC.
Give me $500.
Okay.
Electronic Daisy Carnival.
So
Take
yeah,
your mother on the Ferris wheel.
If any of our
We're gonna
listeners,
rave our faces off.
With
Take
daisies
Molly.
and ecstasy.
Your mom wants to go to Epcot while we're here.
Right now I'm just at
hanging out with some
I'm just at my
friends,
friend's house right now.
In the middle of a podcast.
Friend?
recording a
That's a
Friends,
laugh.
that's what we are to you. Just kidding.
Someone needs to have a talk with
Hello?
JP.
So JP needs to put them on the speakerphone because that's what really makes this
I
entertaining.
know he's too chicken.
It's a serious
I know.
conversation.
Oh, spoiler!
Hi, Mom. How are you?
So you have your food tomorrow?
Yes, Mom.
You have your breakfast?
Yes, Mom. Everything's fine.
Okay.
Mm.
Enjoy. So what time did you come home?
Today? Well, I got home around 7 something, I think.
That's not true.
Where are you right now?
Right now I'm just at my friend's house.
That's not true
Oh,
either.
yeah?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So enjoy. See you tomorrow. Anak, okay?
Thank you, Mom.
JP, get off me. I don't like you like that.
Love you too, Mom.
Be good. Bye.
Bye, Mom.
You have a mom who loves you.
How dare you?
All right.
What a beautiful moment.
That's a great segue, guys. I'm glad my mom called. So my parents are basically staying with me for the next 2 weeks.
I'm sorry.
I don't know if this is funny or not, but it was yesterday or the day before. I get home from my apartment. My dad calls me. You know, my parents. It's either my parents always call me or I always call my parents. It's whatever. I love them, so that's not the issue. My dad calls me.
It's usually the only way you communicate to each other.
There's
Whenever you
only
guys call
two
each other.
ways.
Good point.
There's only two ways.
My dad calls me and he's just like, "Yo, what are you doing?" Nothing. I just cleaned. Awesome. Hey, so is the apartment clean? Yeah. Why? Cool. We're flying in tomorrow. Thanks. All right. So I spent like a solid 2 hours cleaning the apartment, make sure it was all good. I had a whole situation, but basically it was like a last minute flight.
Your dead
I
bodies.
thought, yeah, no, they're all in the closet.
Clearing out all the alcohol.
Thank God.
Okay, so for the
this is a good story.
past 2 or
Does
3,
your dad drink at all?
it's funny you say that. Actually, my dad's the one that took me out drinking when I turned 21. We went to a bar together. Now my dad and I drink all the time. But here's the thing though. My mom's not gonna listen to this episode. I had an entire fridge of alcohol, and this has been for the past 4 weeks. The fridge has been full of beer. The freezer has been full of liquor. It's been like this for 4 weeks. I find out that they're flying in the day, like tomorrow, basically, and I'm like, so I give all my alcohol to my friend Mangus, who's been staying with me, and basically he's just like, yeah, so what am I gonna do with this? I just put it in your car, or whatever. Oh, and also, yeah, you
gotta go.
You gotta go. Yeah, so basically
Peace, homie.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Angus, take the beer and leave.
but it's all cool. Like, so shout out to him. Like, it's a shitty situation. I'm trying not to curse as much for various reasons, but it sucks, I guess. But the cool thing is, my parents are here. My dad's birthday's on Sunday. We're planning on going to Disney.
You're going to give him a bunch
And
of
you got Vegas
alcohol
out
and
of
say,
your house.
sorry, you can't live in my house anymore.
It's just, it's a crappy, it's a weird situation, but I'm looking at the positives and I'm excited. I'm looking forward to Italian food on Sunday in Epcot, so it's going to be good.
Ooh, that sounds
It's
awesome.
only 2 weeks, man. You got this.
I know. But it's going to be good, though, Also, St. Patrick's Day, we're dating this again. St. Patrick's Day is, I think, next week, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys have any
Friday.
plans at all for St. Patty's or?
Murdering my liver even more.
Green beer.
I mean, car bombs.
Oh no. Car bomb. No,
Car
no, no, no,
bombs
no,
is
no.
what did me last time.
Yeah.
What is a car bomb?
All right, so basically when you have a car
Doesn't remember.
and
Zach, if we weren't
a
friends
bunch
before,
of
we
car
definitely
explosives
aren't
in
now.
the trunk. A car bomb is basically, like, for example, an Irish car bomb. The whole point of a bomb is you have a certain liquid, either it's a beer or in some cases a Red Bull, and then you also have a little shot glass. Usually it'll be filled with either liquor or some sort of mixture of various liquors and other drinks. The bomb part is you take the shot glass full of liquor, drop it into the bigger glass of liquid, beer, Red Bull, etc., and chug it.
And break your teeth.
In the case of an Irish car bomb, the reason why you chug it is because
Curdles.
It curdles, exactly. It's in Guinness, right?
Yeah.
And you have like Bailey's and stuff in it.
Yeah.
It's
And,
usually Bailey's or Jameson or a
Bailey's
combination of
and
the two.
Jameson, yeah.
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 And so if you don't drink it fast enough, it curdles and it'll taste like crap.
So there's a chemical reaction between the Bailey's milk and the beer that's in
the Guinness,
the Guinness.
Yeah,
That's
The
why
interesting
I
is
chug
that
it.
that happens in your stomach anyway.
Yeah. I
was
But
gonna
you just
say.
don't want it to happen on your tongue.
Yeah. So,
Shelby
It
knows about
tastes
that.
like throwing up in reverse. I've had it happen.
and that's the more you know.
Is that why you asked what a car bomb was?
Just so you can play that.
Jerk. Yes,
That's
it was.
exactly why. Zach, the man with too much power, for all. But yeah, I don't know. So St. Patrick's Day, I think we're probably gonna go downtown or something, have some green beer, get messed up, which is gonna be bad.
Such a
Fucked
mess
up.
downtown.
Yeah, it's true.
That's like the old lady in me, just like, nah, I hate people.
The thing, yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, we usually go, like on like a Thursday or something,
Yeah.
like on a Tuesday, and even then, it's still pretty packed.
It's still pretty packed.
big
Yeah, St.
day
Pat.
here.
I mean,
Tuesdays are big
I'm not
days.
gonna lie. I would rather
guys
go
act like it's
any
slow.
other night and
It's
just
not.
celebrate St. Patrick's Day early. But
Yeah.
you and me know we have one certain friend that is going to drag us out there and nearly kill us. So
The huge.
yeah,
That's what friends are for, right? To
Yep,
destroy
exactly.
your
To
liver.
kill you.
So I mean, there you go.
I celebrated St. Patrick's Day pretty hard in college. One of my famous pictures of me like kind of passed out on the ground, but I like decided to call everyone I knew from back home because it was like when I first moved away, and so I'm just like on the phone on my little flip phone,
You
like
drunk called all your friends.
oh yeah. I only had like 3, so.
I don't know whether to laugh or feel bad for you.
Wow.
Both.
Hey, they're 3 best friends.
They were. No, we were best. No, I don't even want to sing that song because they're not worth it. But
Wow.
but we were really close, and so I was like on the phone with them and just kind of like laying on the ground with my plastic hat on and just kind of passed out. Well, maybe I'll share the photo on our link dump
Hey,
if I'm
link
feeling
dump.
brave.
I'm that guy.
But anyways, as I got a little bit older, I learned more about how we celebrate a fake holiday here, just like Cinco de Mayo, so it's hard for me to like really get excited about St. Patrick's Day now. Now I'm just kind of like having that I'm actually Irish sort of pride. So I just kind of like, like glare at all the people who aren't and like
Culturally void white pride.
Yes, exactly.
Case doesn't care.
Right. Don't give a shit.
Just enjoy it. It's still a fun time to get drunk.
No, I
excuse to
know.
get
And so
drunk.
that's what I mean. Like
And it's better than being Southern. I'd rather be known for that.
So I get very like just I don't know. I feel like I'm participating now just because I feel like I should to be like, listen, I'm really a part of this, but then I'm also contrarian. That's
Listen,
like,
kids, I'm hip. You think I can't drink? Watch this.
yeah, but
I
then
can do that.
But then I'm also like, it's not even real. Like
It is funny how
So-
how our society just
Contradiction.
goes ahead and accepts it. Like this is a thing.
Yeah.
We're just gonna
I-
be drunk and we're young.
I just don't even
20s
give a
Yeah.
shit. Any excuse for me to drink, I don't care. Good
point.
Yeah.
I don't
So-
even care. No.
Yeah, so I'm totally on board with the going out randomly and not on the actual day.
I say we do that.
Yeah.
I would
Like day before.
prefer that. Yeah, big time.
Hey, do you guys go to Universal Studios or Disney more?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I definitely go to Disney more.
I can't
Yeah.
believe you guys go to both. That's
I worked at
a lot of
Universal, so I
money.
went there more.
I like
I'd say,
Universal more,
since I get dragged with you guys, I'll say I go with Disney more.
but you like Universal more.
That's a good question. I like both. I can't really say because Universal has really good rides. Disney has a really, really cool overall experience.
Yeah, they do have a totally different
They're
vibe.
just very different, but they're both cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that
And Disney
reminds
has
me, I was
better
supposed
So
to
drinks.
you
text
can't
somebody.
compare the two. You
I don't
can't-
want- I don't
you
want
can't
to.
choose one or the other.
No, I don't like to be put in positions where I have to choose one or the other.
Choose.
That's why
Don't make him.
I know. Don't make me do it.
You're stressing him out.
But actually, speaking of Universal, this is probably a really good segue. I like to talk about Rooster Teeth. I like to talk about Achievement Hunter because online media and video games and stuff. Achievement Hunter has this ongoing series they call Let's Play Live. Basically, they tour the country. Well, not tour. They go around to various cities in the United States, and they put on a show where they play video games with a bunch of other people for a entire venue of people. And they're going on tour in April, and one of the shows they're doing is at the Hard Rock in Universal Studios.
Oh, cool.
So they're doing that. They're doing Tampa. They're doing Newark and Jersey. They're not doing Atlanta, unfortunately, but I just think it's really fascinating because when we're talking about online media and stuff, the fact that these guys are coming down to put on a show where they play video games, it's been a huge thing in Let's Play culture over the past, I'd say, 4-5 years. Let's Plays have been huge. Video game commentary is huge. And to see that on a broader scale, on an actual stage, they had a show where they have the Oscars in LA. They had a show in New York where they have like a bunch of wrestling things and like a ballroom and stuff. So I think it's fascinating to see just not only people are willing to pay for this kind of stuff, but the dedication that they have to that craft.
Nerds.
Yeah, it's cool, man. I think
cool.
it's kind of like a modern. The way they put it, one of the co-creators of the project calls it a new age or new media rock concert. It's basically like it's
know.
the way that you treat both the audience interaction and the overall content itself.
For me, I'm like an old man when it comes to Let's Plays. I'm like, why would I watch a Let's Play when I can play the game myself? Play the game. But I mean, to be honest though, I'll go to like my friend's house and we'll all just sit around and drink
watch people play.
and watch somebody play like a single game, and we'll all be like the peanut gallery. We'll be like, "Oh, idiot, you died there." You know? Like we'll all like have our commentary, and so that's pretty much a Let's Play. And I feel like that's how they're structured, right? You watch one. You get kind of interested, and then eventually you almost treat like the player like your friend. Like you get to know them, you get to know their personality, and that makes them more exciting. You're like, well, I wonder what my friend is like when they play Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Like I want to see them super scared. You know? So I understand the mindset behind it, but I'm still kind of like a snob.
Yeah, it actually blew my mind. There was someone that I was talking to that was telling me how like these pro gamers literally age out like after their mid-20s. Like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
can't
They're out.
stay competitive after a certain age. So I'm like, So basically, pro gaming is more intense than actual like physical sports.
In a way.
In
Because
some
you
way, I
age
mean,
out.
they take just as much commitment, if not more, because I remember reading it was on Vice. They were interviewing a former pro StarCraft player, and they asked him like just on average how many hours did you have to play? He's like 14 hours a day minimum, if not more.
And they just can't keep up with the speed of these younger.
Well, exactly. That's inevitably what happened to him. And I think he said he started competitively when he was 16 and did it until he was
Are you
23.
talking
That's
about
crazy.
J-Dong?
Wow.
No, it wasn't J-Dong.
Well, there's another guy like White Raw, like he's in his 30s, and he would like get in StarCraft tournaments, but he would never be able to make it past like the semifinals. And they would always like in the commentary, like while the game's going on, they'd be like, "Oh, White Raw is like 30. You know, he's just not fast enough. He doesn't have the fast enough reflexes." It's interesting.
It's really cool, especially if we're talking about esports. Like for fighting games, it's also a completely different story. Like fighting games, those types of games, it's just like StarCraft. Like huge amount of APM, especially for games like Super Smash Bros. Melee, where it's just so many inputs at once, and the controller's not really good. It's not really healthy for your hands, and so you'll see these players that have huge hand problems and hand cramps, and they'll have to go to hospital and get surgery and stuff just for playing a video game. You're getting paid to play a video game, and if your hands get messed up, well, that's
just the craziest thing that I've never heard of
Your
anybody
livelihood
telling.
right there, gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never heard of anybody say that like you age out of competitive gameplay. That's a crazy concept. I guess the oldest people that are still actively playing are in their at the maximum is like 27.
Yeah.
Like 27's the point where you're like barely staying on.
Can't abuse Adderall.
So unless you
anymore.
play professional
I was
Hearthstone,
gonna
you're
say,
fucked.
do you think that's what it is? Is just the younger
it's
kids
definitely
can,
part of it.
you know,
Like more reaction.
get through those long hours and have a faster reaction still, and just
It's
be
just
all,
the motor skill.
I think
right?
I think it's also generational to an extent where you know, for instance, I can hand my 5-year-old nephew a laptop or a tablet, and he'll pick it up a lot faster than, you know, I would or my mom would or something like that, where it's just as you're becoming immersed in this technology and this gameplay and all of this type of stuff a lot earlier. Like it's really funny when I go visit and watch him play video games, because he can't even read, so he can't really follow the directions of like what he's supposed to do, but he's still like kind of, you know, mashing buttons and figuring things out on his own, more so than if I'm sitting down and holding it and trying to do it. So I think even with the amount of training and everything that you would do, there's something about the earlier you're immersed into it as we go through more
Or
generations.
you're developing like certain cognitive functions.
Yeah, we're
in
just
your brain.
evolving in a way that relates more
Yeah,
to
it really throws me off too, because I'll be playing a video game with him, and it's like you don't expect someone that's can play a video game as well as he can to suddenly be like, read this message to me, and I'm like, to read this to you? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
keep up, kid, idiot.
Yes.
No, it's like you just forget that you're playing with a, you know, you're
Why am I
forget-
even playing with you? God. Sorry, I'm so
Freaking idiot. Sorry, I was just watching Napoleon Dynamite for like the 15th time.
We're all gonna be like super old
Point,
playing
give me
video
points.
games.
Oh, yeah.
in our like nursing home, like that's gonna be
us.
our generation.
I hope we're all like old Napoleon Dynamites as well.
I
can add that
unfortunately
on there.
I never had gamer parents, you know. Like I never got to
freaking
have that
kids
connection.
these
My dad tried. He picked up the Xbox 360 controller once, and he was like, "This is impossible."
My
to
dad
use."
about took Age of Empires from me. Like,
Yeah.
he became obsessed with that game.
My dad got me into video games. I remember him taking home the Super Nintendo. He was like, "Doug, check out this game. It's badass. It's called Doom."
Oh my God.
And so like as a kid, I remember watching my dad run around with the rocket launcher, like just blowing up
All
like
the
these
monsters.
demons, and they would just explode into
That was such
showers
a
of
scary
gore.
game, too.
Oh yeah, for its time.
And you know, as a
crazy.
kid, like I never thought it was scary, but then when I would play it by myself, I would get freaked
Yeah.
out. And
Hell
so
yeah.
like it was interesting. Like if my dad was there, I would want to be brave, but like if I was by myself, I couldn't play it.
That's how I was with my older brother too. Like he was the one, it was his game. And so then I got to the age where it was like, okay, get this. I'm going to play by myself. I can do this. I'm not scared. And then I'd totally be scared
Yeah.
by myself.
I couldn't do I tried to do Resident Evil 2 by myself when I was a kid.
Ooh, that would be scary.
The camera angle alone is terrifying.
All right, so now that we're on video games again for like the 15th time, let's
do
go.
you know?
Let's go around the table. What are your guys' first experiences with games? Like your first console, your first handheld case?
Okay. The first video game I ever played was I was 4, and it was the old Mutant Ninja Turtle game
For
that was
Super
on-
Nintendo?
Yes.
Nice.
That was the first game
Really
I ever
good.
played.
Really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, my friend Cole lived right across the street. I would just go over to his house and we would play that for hours.
Nice.
Yeah, that was the first thing I ever
Good
had.
start.
Yeah, so
Alyssa?
So I have a kind of like a handful of very sporadic memories. I remember having a Sega Genesis and a Super Nintendo.
Cool.
So I feel like it was very much classics, Sonic and Super Mario. But then there was this other game. It was some weird like mansion movie or mansion game. Yeah. Mansion game where you had to basically you would get captured by this guy who was basically like the keeper of the mansion, but then you had to like utilize multiple players, so the more it got captured, the more difficult it was. And no one that I speak to has any idea what this game is, and I've never been able to find it again.
Was it a PC game?
It was on Sega, I think, or maybe Nintendo. It was during that time where I had both of those. So yeah, that was like one of my favorite games. That and track and field. I played that one a lot with the joysticks. But then the last thing that's kind of one of my earliest memories of that is when the PlayStation came out and it had the disc. So I think it was the very first one. And my cousins that I lived with up in Connecticut were such compulsive liars that they tried to tell me that if you put in the album I Like Big Butts and I Cannot Lie, you know that
Nice.
one. If you put that in, that a little guy would come out on the screen and start shaking his butt, and then I was like, okay, cool, show me. And then they're like, I can't, it's broken. And so it was just like I remember that being like my first memory of
Why would they put themselves in that position?
compulsive liars. I'm telling you, it was just a thing.
They're like,
so.
This happens if you do this.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then do it.
Yeah, so I know that was a very
Okay.
long answer, but those I'm trying to
total
picture
kid
my earliest memories, and those are the ones that I have.
Were either of those games Mansion of Hidden Souls or Splatter House 2?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll keep looking.
Yeah, I know. I've been looking for
Splatter
years
House
trying to
was
find
an
it.
interesting game.
Doug, your first game experiences?
Yeah, I mean, I remember Doom. I remember
Doom,
like
yeah.
Duke Nukem on MS-DOS.
When
Like,
it was good?
I don't know, like just games like that. I will have to say about compulsive liars. Yeah, I knew a few
Yeah.
in high school. I mean, it's definitely compulsive. People will lie about like the stupidest things. Like I remember this friend, he was just like, this watch is worth $10,000.
Nice.
And I'd be like, really? And he's like, yeah. Both my parents are in Iraq. And I was like, well, who picked you up yesterday? My mom.
She
like-
flew back last night.
I remember
They go
some
back and
flight.
forth.
some comedian talking about it. He was like, he loved compulsive liars because he said that you could always like, you could make it like a build your own adventure.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
like you talk to one and you'd be like, I went fishing yesterday, and you'd be like, oh, did you catch a shark? And he'd be like, yeah, I catch 1,000,000 of them. Like, yeah, well, one time I caught a whale, and then the compulsive liar will of course have to one up.
Well, of course.
Of course.
So you can send the story down any crazy rails, kind of like I've done.
That's
so
awesome.
Zach, could
It's
you bring
almo-
it back on topic?
Well, it's almost like they lie, but they forget that they have to come up with a lie that they have to not prove.
Yeah.
You know, like they're
Like they're
Lines
hoping you'll be
there's that part.
superficial enough to
Yeah.
just be like, oh, cool, man, I like you.
I
You're
wasn't
awesome.
listening. So
Yeah.
cool.
I love catching whales.
So the first game experience I ever had that I can think of is I had this computer that was a compact or Packer Bell, I think. I think it was called a Packer Bell.
Nice.
This is 1989, I think. So this is pre UI.
This is pre-me.
This is pre.
Yeah, pre-me.
Yeah, pre-me, pre Windows 95. Floppy disk,
Yep.
no mouse, just
Oh.
keyboard, just DOS, just black and white. And we used to have these little floppy disks that you put in to play a game, and I'd play Centipede and Pac-Man on it. I think
Nice.
Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so
crazy.
Centipede was like the first experience.
That's
like,
crazy.
Gaming experience I had.
Shelby, your first gaming experiences?
As a kid, I remember when I first think of games growing up, I think of my older brother having his Nintendo and just taking it apart.
Nice.
And I just
Nice.
remember pieces spread out over like the living room
Was he on
table.
PCP?
Was it? No, he was not.
Like he would
He
disassemble
was,
it?
yeah, he would disassemble it and put it back together again.
Crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And so I
You
just
didn't know
remember.
about just like the blow on the cartridge
he probably
method?
was
Okay, that
interested.
trick doesn't always work. And if you're interested in how it works, you want to take it apart and see all the computer parts inside. And so I just remember like sitting beside him as a kid and like playing with all these parts that he's, taking apart and putting back together. But yeah, I mean, we had the Sega Genesis and stuff like that as well. But the older one was, Nintendo Classics. And
Oh yeah.
let me see. Besides the ones that have already been named, I remember the Paperboy game, where you ride down the street.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you have to get away from the dog and
remember that.
the cars and stuff like that, and you throw the paper on one side of the street or the other.
That was a classic game. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
For my original gaming experiences, I know my first console was a handheld. It was the Game Boy Advance. I know I'm pretty new-ish compared to you guys, obviously, but my first
Game Boy Advance.
Damn, bro.
my first handheld was a Game Boy Advance, and my first games were Super Mario Advance and F-Zero. And then my first home console was the GameCube. So this is like generations past. Fucking
Did you ever
Genesis.
own an original Game Boy then?
No,
Never.
No, never.
I never got to live through the Game Boy.
Exactly.
Years.
I got it easy.
That's unfortunate.
I had it so easy. I had like I remember I had SP, dude, like Game Boy SP. Game Boy Advance SP was
SP was
with
awesome.
the, with
like
the
my
LCD.
PSP.
And then my first home console was the GameCube. So I think I had Luigi's Mansion and Super Mario Sunshine. And like I refused to play Luigi's Mansion for like 2 or 3 years because I was so scared. I was a baby, dude. So like I would get through the first 10 or 20 minutes like after you get the vacuum as Luigi, and I'd go to the first room and see a ghost and shut off the game and just put it away.
I was scared of the Ghost Mansion in Mario 64.
Yeah, no, I yeah.
Because
like
I remember
Blue House,
there's like you'd go into the basement and there'd always be that big ghost that'd be waiting for you when you didn't beat and I'd always be like, turn around. Don't
Yeah.
want to see the ghost.
yeah.
Kind of like that reminds me of Ski Free, where like you cannot escape the abominable snowman. It's impossible.
Oh, that's terrifying. Yeah, ski
It
free.
wasn't terrifying. It was a tiny little thing going.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I did want to add one more. To this day, still my favorite game. I actually, someone that I knew years ago, added it onto an old computer that I had. Chips Challenge was my jam on the PC. So it's like this little game where you take this little guy and you have to take him around and he would push blocks into water to get across. It was like a puzzle game.
Yeah,
And you'd have to
I
like
remember
unlock
that.
doors or hit buttons and then get the key and then like get these little chips before the time ran out. I am so obsessed with it and I'm just waiting for someone to create it on like as like an app or something. Just like please bring
do
back. Yeah.
You do it.
I'm gonna write
crazy.
that code.
Yeah.
All right, JP.
But
What's up, man?
I think it's
We're already an hour and 13 in.
yeah, I'm
Oh,
really
damn, bro.
All right. So, are we talking about Parks and Rec characters?
Oh, yeah.
So-
Real
we got to
quick,
do
let's go
something.
around real
Let's
So
go.
as a precursor to this, we decided to do one of those silly little BuzzFeed quizzes to say which Parks and Rec character we are, and we're gonna see if we agree or not, and who we think we would be.
So, who wants to start? Let's
You.
go down the line. Oh. So, before I say mine, I did take the quiz that you linked to us,
Yes.
Alyssa, and I did get the exact character that I thought I would be. And before I say mine, I'd like to ask you what you think I would be.
No, because I
Oh,
was trying to
boy.
decide on like 3, and I
All right.
I probably
I-
have the same 3 in mind.
I don't want to like spoil which one. Okay, so I'm gonna go with John Ralphio.
No.
Oh,
That was my first guess.
Second guess.
Second guess would be Tom.
All right. Final guess.
Oh shit.
Oh boy.
Whew, okay.
I thought it'd be really easy.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. It's just getting more difficult.
Cease.
That's Tom.
That's
Oh,
Tom.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to kill a bunch of time
It's Tom
trying to
for
think.
sure.
Yeah.
You know?
So, all right. So, I remember watching a couple of clips of the show and watching an episode, and I was really, really big. This is after I got huge into board games. So there's a Catan, one of my
you're
favorite board
gonna-
games of all time.
Catan?
So I love Catan. Anyways,
Queens
I
of
didn't
Dunshire.
I didn't know that
Oh, boy.
Parks and Rec had an entire episode or episodes dedicated based on this game called
Yup.
Queens of Dunshire,
Yeah.
developed by none other than Ben Wyatt.
Wyatt.
So I'm thinking, well, duh, I'd probably be Ben Wyatt, right? I take the BuzzFeed quiz, and it basically gives me Ben Wyatt. So I'm like, all right, so I guess I'm Ben then.
I will say I definitely get that. Knowing more his character, I don't think it's suiting to your personality.
Okay.
But that side of it for sure. Like he's super nerd. Like and
That's-
like nerds out hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So,
yeah. No, but there's just different elements. You know, they all are like pretty complex characters to
course.
some degree. So that would not have been one of my choices at
That's
all.
that's definitely a show I need to watch
But yeah,
more.
that's interesting.
All right. So Shelby, you want to go next?
I got Donna.
Nice.
So it said like I don't know.
Yeah.
strong, work first, and
Respect.
whatever.
There you go.
You know how to treat yourself. That's what it was.
Yes.
Treat
yourself.
yourself.
See, that's the sound clip
And I
that we
beat you
needed
again.
of
There
the
you go. I
day.
like that.
Treat
yourself?
Yeah.
Is that a?
I'll
it's
edit
a-
it and at
Yeah,
the
it's a
end.
thing.
Yeah, we can
Okay.
edit in post.
And
Edit in
Voldemort's
post.
face.
All right.
All right, Sack.
I don't remember what I got.
On
the quiz?
You got Donna
You got
too.
Donna on the quiz.
Oh, I did get Donna.
But you decided that you were going to be.
Oh, I wanted to be Andy.
Yeah.
You
So-
can't pick. We are strong,
No,
beautiful
no,
black women.
You
Zach.
are not Andy in any way,
Andy
shape,
plays
or form.
music. He's a guitar player, and he's
You're
funny.
Donna.
Yeah, the lone thing you have in common with his character. Yeah.
I don't know. At times Zach can
Otherwise,
be.
he has the education of
I
like
just
a
like how-
3-year-old.
Yeah.
I like how
What
dumb
sh-
Andy is.
Yeah. No, but that's the thing. Like Zach's like super smart, but he's got that like
That's debatable.
he's got like the intellect that leads to sometimes like common sense lacking at
Like,
times.
sometimes you'll be like, Zach, can you pull the curtain down? And he goes, oh, the curtain?
Curtain.
What's
Yeah, the curtain.
What's
Could
a
be a
curtain?
lot of things. Okay.
The curtain?
All right. Doug.
Doog.
Okay,
Duke.
so for me,
Dirk.
I don't actually watch Parks and
Yeah,
Rec. I
we
might have seen
know.
like an episode and a half. So yeah, I know I'm being shunned. Actually, you might be able to see that on camera, but that is social ostracization right there. Anyway, so I took this quiz. I'm interested, as somebody that knows nothing about the show, I want to hear what character you think I am, so I can not know who they are.
Well, my response of who you're going to be is going to come after you say who you got on the
All
quiz.
right.
Yeah, because
So-
it's relevant.
So we're gonna
Okay.
do some post answer results,
Post.
right? All
Some
right.
post-hardcore.
So this is what it says. I got copy pasted because I was so astonished at what it said. It
Nice.
says, you got, Lil Sebastian. You are a warrior. You are strong, determined, beautiful,
That is
courageous,
amazing.
and a gift to humanity.
That is amazing.
When life hands you women's, you turn them into a mini horse.
Oh,
Thank you
so
for all
happy.
that you do.
That is
You
amazing.
in the satisfaction.
I don't know what the show is, but
There's
I
a
might want to
mini
watch it now that I'm a mini horse.
Fly, little Sebastian. Okay.
You got a little
That's awesome. So that's cool. I didn't know they had that as an option on there. So what I was going to say is that, and this won't be as offensive to you as it should be since you don't watch the show. But since
Wow.
so
Damn.
since you're the only one that doesn't watch the show, you're Jerry. And
This is Jerry.
That's one of the meanest things anyone can
or
say to
Larry.
anyone.
Or Jerry or Gary or Larry.
Gary,
Or Larry.
Jerry, Larry,
They
Gurgich,
changed it,
Gringich.
like 3 times during the
Gringich.
show.
I need
so
new friends.
There you
so
are.
Jerry is basically like their punching bag. So he is super like has a super great
Oh my
life.
God, he's on fire in this picture.
He also has a
Oh, he
also
looks
has
just like
a-
me too.
he has a fart attack. He has like a heart attack, but it like makes him fart a lot. So they're like, you can't even have a heart attack that isn't like.
Poor
But
thing.
no, like he has like a super interesting life and like a beautiful wife and 3 beautiful children and they go on
Doesn't matter. He has a
Yeah.
fart attack.
Exactly.
That's great.
And so he's just like a damn it, Jerry, which is another sound clip we need. But anyway, so yeah, that's what I was gonna do.
All
Just
right,
just
let's move
strictly
on before people start hearing me cry.
Alyssa, it's your turn.
All right. So the quiz, I took this quiz like a week ago, and that's what inspired me to make you guys take it as well. I got John Ralphio
That's crazy.
when I took the quiz, who is literally like the worst.
douchiest of the douches.
So yeah, so I got that.
You called it out last week when you had you taken the quiz already? You were like, John Ralphio? You called it out, or was that just
don't-
like intuition that you were gonna
It
have?
might have been intuition. I'll have to look at the date that I took it, but yeah. But more realistically, if I were to choose for myself without BuzzFeed's help, I would say that I am a combination of 2 characters, one of which being April Ludgate, because you can't
Yeah.
not. I mean, I hate humans, and
I definitely see that.
yeah, so
Oh, yeah.
She always has resting bitch face.
right,
all the
exactly.
time.
She's amazing.
But at the same time, she's like too amazing for me. Like I'm not as cool as she is. She listens to like German reggae death metal music and stuff like that. But so the other half of me, the more subdued half, would be Ben Wyatt in his accountant nerdiness.
okay.
And so yeah,
Ben Wyatt.
so that's kind of the combo that I would have.
Ben's cool. All right, Cassie.
Okay. Well, first of all, get that for the soundboard, please.
Cassie?
Cassie.
Cassie.
Cassie. Cassie.
Cassie.
Cassie.
All right.
Anyway, if I'm being completely honest, I'll say what I would think before the quiz answer. I would say I'm a combination of a couple of characters. I would have said, and oddly enough, I would say a weird combination of Chris, Ben, and Ron, all three. A weird.
Yes.
Do you want Ron just for his glorious mustache?
I was gonna say that, and for more or less, we'll just say that. But then I took
Bacon and whiskey.
Yeah, bacon and whiskey, of course. And then, but no, on the quiz, I got Chris.
That's very nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which is, I would probably say that I can see why you're a combination because Chris is way too positive.
Exactly. No,
You gotta balance
I
all
am
these
not.
characters
No,
out.
Yeah.
no, not at all. That's
Yeah.
where I need Ron to come in.
Yeah.
My favorite.
I can definitely see the Ron.
Yeah, I think I have a bit of all three. That's what I would say. Yeah.
Speaking of Ron Swanson, have you guys ever seen the picture of Ron Swanson and a duck labeled Swan Ronson?
Yeah.
I love those where it's like there's another one that's like
stupid.
Daniel Radcliffe.
JP, you're not on the internet enough. I saw that years ago.
Boringcliffe.
There's one, Sarah Palin and Paris Salin's a really good one. There's one
Black Swanson.
Check this out. It's Ron Swanson with the Black Swan thing.
Yep.
Black
Makeup.
Swanson.
Yep.
It's really good.
That.
There's another one too that's like Janir Jafar.
But anyways, yeah. So next week we have to determine what we want to do for next week. What do you guys think? What shows?
What
do you
show are
wanna
we
do?
gonna do?
What haven't we done actually?
Yeah.
Seinfeld? No,
Eh.
we're not that bad. We're not terrible human beings.
What if we do
Can we do
No.
a surprise one? Do we have to?
yeah, let's surprise it up.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's discuss this afterwards.
Yeah, we'll discuss
Come
after.
up with
Yeah.
something good.
surprises mean we're unprepared.
See, audience, what's happening right now is we're saying it's going to be a surprise, but what we're really saying is we have no idea, and we're just going to leave it at that. We're just going to.
Exactly.
And it'll be a random.
But
Yep.
anyways, if that's pretty much it, if anyone has anything else to say, any goodbyes or stuff.
No, can we do
No.
a cheers?
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
Cheers, my empty beer bottle.
Cheers.
Cheers. There's
Grab yours. Go.
Oh, okay. Anyways, thank you very much for listening
Thanks
to the
for coming.
My Toy Podcast. See you guys next week.
Bye.
Alcohol.
Damn it, Jerry.